Hey you, are you feeling lousy, shameful? You feel like a failure? Welcome to life. Feelings everybody experiences on a daily basis. Maybe not every day, but from time to time. That's just normal. But what I've noticed is the people who are successful in binge eating recovery and who are not, that some of those who are not successful, they're spending too much time in this negative down spiral. Your brain is wired to think negative. And most of your worst case scenarios, also after a binge, are paper tigers. Nothing more. Period. So our ancestors had the problem. They dealt with real tigers, with threatening one. So that's why you are thinking so negative, especially after when you failed. And the difference is, yes, you failed. No problem. So modern world made you fail because of the modern world food supply. But that does not mean that you are in principle a failure. You know the difference? So stop in the self-pity trap, down spiral, talking about it all the time. Again, I also have a group where people can exchange and also exchange when they feel lousy. Hey, we are there for you. But the difference is that you should, at some point, you should stop and find solution. Because what I've noticed is that people become stubborn sometimes when they get advice what they can maybe improve. And hey, I feel you. Maybe you're thinking like, hey, don't tell me what to do. I know everything about healthy eating. I know everything about how we are humans are wired. I know about evolutionary psychology, and I'm still binging. What's wrong with me? And when I dig deeper and ask questions, people forgot to look at. They're over-exercising. They're going to party not prepared. You know, all those basic stuff. And sometimes I feel like a broken record. I'm repeating those things over and over again. And I feel like people maybe feel like that, yeah, Justina, but you don't know. It's also emotional. Really? So all binge eaters I talk to, they binge in happy moments, in negative moments, in all kinds of scenarios. And afterwards, they feel emotionally down. And of course, there are also moments when you feel like, I don't know, you need some dopamine hit, and then it's because energy conservation, it's a good idea to get some pleasure from junky food or from concentrated processed food. But it's just a symptom, you know. Your emotions are in principle not the case why you binge. But this is another topic of another video. So this video I'll talk about what you can do to get out of this emotional down spiral. What I've noticed is in this hyper health arena that are aware of evolutionary psychology, and this is something that helped me to improve my life a lot and to understand my feelings and my motivations, my motives. You know, evolutionary psychology is in principle, yeah, when you have a problem and you solve it, you feel good. So your feelings and emotions are a result of your current circumstances. And I totally agree. But we live in the modern world. And I do think we have to work on our mindset as well, because most of our negative thinking are paper tigers. So when you're dealing with lots of negative emotions after binging, if I would be you, I would not spend too much time on those negative emotions. Let them just rush through your system. It's important to feel them. Don't push them away. The more you push them away, the more intense you will feel them. I mean, this is classic CBT. And people who deal with anxiety, they know. Just accept the anxiety. Just accept that you're anxious. Just accept that you're maybe not at the body weight you desire. Just accept that right at the moment. And the next day after a binge, you keep going with your healthy plan as if nothing happened. I saw people who do markers in their calendar, again, lamenting about the problem instead of focusing on the solution. I mean, who cares, to be honest? Who cares how much you binge? Who cares how long your last binge was or how long your binge was? Who cares? The only thing we care about is what's going on now, because the only thing in life you have is now. You can only learn from past mistakes. You can ask yourself, okay, yesterday I binged, what was different? Maybe it was the same 100 times the same scenario where you binge. In theory, you might know how to solve binging, but again, I see people have blind spots they are not aware of. Why they binge. But if I dig deeper, most of the time I find those blind spots, and sometimes it's just a cost-benefit analysis that people are not willing to give up maybe some specific weight loss goals or specific looks, whatever. But those things can make you binge. That's just how it is. They want the best physique possible, and my approach is always, what I want for you is to achieve the maximum weight loss possible for your type of genetics. The benefits should be higher than the costs to achieve that. And if it's not, that's something you need to work on. When you have a challenge in life, at the moment it might be binging, and you are only focusing how to solve it. You have a problem, so find to make ways or solutions to solve it, and then go on with life. The last day I came across the term high agency people. And high agency people are people, when they have a problem, they find solutions. Or you know those people, maybe you have someone in your life, they're always seeing everything so negative. They're always negative, always bad. Only they get the problems. Only they have not enough money. Only they have no partner. Only they, whatever, all the kids, always something complaining about. And I'm not saying that you are that person. I've met people, especially those elderly I look up to, who experience a lot of stuff in their life. I know people who lost 3 of their children, and they were still so positive and optimistic, and they had health challenges to conquer, and I was like, wow. And they're still so optimistic. And then I know other people who could be grateful, but they're only seeing the negative. And everybody of us have this tendency, when we have something negative happens in our life, because our brain is wired that way, to only focus on the negative. And for me, it's helped to focus on my mindset, to improve my thinking, to work on that. I know EP is very like, your thoughts are just a result of your circumstances and so on. That's true, but I've noticed that you definitely can work on your thinking. So you can't work on the first thought that pops up in your brain. That's something you can control, but you can control how you react on those thoughts. And that's my message to you with this video is, see how you react after a binge. Work on that. Focus on that. Improve that. What's helped me, not for the binging, because I don't deal with binging anymore for years, but I have other life challenges in my life where I find myself in a down spiral and negative thinking pattern. And this behavior repeated, and at some point I say, stop. It feels like a deja vu, I relive it over and over again with the next challenge in life I get. If you want to reach the next level in life, you will get a next devil. That's just how life works. You will receive problems all the time. At the moment it might be binging, next time it might be finding a partner, or you have many problems at once. Like most people, I have many problems at once, 30 minutes ago I filmed this video for you guys, and I'm, as a technic geek, I don't know what I did wrong, but I have no audio in that video. So I have to record it again. And if a few years ago, I would think about it, the video has no audio and I have to record it, and I would find myself in that self-pity trap and so bad. That's life, you know. For example, at the moment, my father enters 88 years next month, and unfortunately he has a severe case of dementia and an aggressive form. And he sometimes he's really threatening. He punched my mom in the face and in the chest, so he's in the hospital at the moment. And when I entered the room, he was really mean. He said mean words. "You are not my daughter." He said just mean stuff. He said, "Yeah, Mom, it's home with his lover." And I was laughing, and at some point he calmed down. And I said, "Dad, you entered this world with a diaper." "And you will leave this world with a diaper." And he was laughing. So use humor. And some of my friends and family members, they said, "Oh, Justina, you have all to manage now with the situation. My mom is feeling really lousy. He's emotionally and mentally totally weak. And so now I have all manage all the paperwork and visit him often and so on. And oh, it's so hard." Yeah, it is tough. Seeing your dad like that and being confronted with 36 years that my dad might leave this world soon hurts. But at the same time, I thought about it. Yeah, but that's just the circle of life. You enter this world and then you leave this world. You experience good emotions and then you experience negative emotions. If I would I would spend most of my time on positive emotions, not like looking in the mirror and saying those positive affirmations. They don't work. I mean that real stuff. And what helped me a lot is reading books about it, but reading them deeply. Don't just gorging on them, binging on them, really working them through if you have time. So make it time. So instead of consuming unnecessary stuff on social media or the hundreds influencers on binge eating, focus on working a little bit on your mindset. If you do in theory what works with eating, but your mindset is not right on track, then work on that. And the sooner you do that, then you will have an easier time to go back with your eating routine, with your healthy eating routine. I see people complaining about, yeah, I need to eat healthy and salads, and the other people can eat all this stuff and they're still slim. Don't waste your time on other people. They don't care about you. The only thing you have is this exact moment and you. Try to make this life, this journey, this roller coaster life as enjoyable as possible. So if you lose, I promise you, if you solve this binge eating stuff, you will have something other you will think about constantly. I promise you. This is just how life is. And life is a really good place to be. But we also have that package of those negative moments. And one book I read that helped me with stressful events or stressful negative feelings is Unstressable by Mo Gavdat, I think is its name. He also has a book, I think it's something about luck, how to be lucky. The book I listened to was Unstressable. And it helped me to understand how stress and anxiety, all those thoughts, how they work in our mind. Sometimes things just to know a theory helps you to see your own emotions from an outside perspective. Even if you feel right now the negative emotions, you can see them from a different angle. And what I've liked about what he said is, when you have an emotion, you experience for 90 seconds. And everything that goes above those 90 seconds is because you decided to stay in that feeling. It's lots of theory with this 90 seconds, but just the concept helped me to understand. And when I have days, especially those after a binge, to be honest, you feel like shit. You slept poor, you feel bloated, you feel heavy. But I still, at some point, decided, go on with your life. Live your life. I mean, I spent years hiding in my room when I was in my 20s and wasted my life. In the modern world, we waste so much of our time in our mind. And I see women in their 30s, in their 40s, not having kids, and still only focusing on how they look. Don't understand me wrong. When you will have kids and you will have a partner, you will still think about how you look. That's just how we females are wired. But when I became a mom, I thought, why in the world nobody told me how great it is to be a mom? Because I oftentimes only hear other moms complain about how hard it is. And I can tell you it is hard. But being a mom helped me to see life differently, to see the circle of life. Like I've noticed also my daughter now, she's 2, she has those tantrums. And sometimes I'm so exhausted and I'm annoyed by those tantrums, but in those moments where I feel negative about her behavior, I just feel like, Justina, at some point you will miss those scenarios because you spent the most of your time with your daughter until she's a teenager, 12, 13, 14 years, and then she will do her own thing. She maybe will stay until she's 18, but after that she will do her own thing. And so you will miss those times. And looking back, how many days, years I spent thinking about binging, how to solve it, and so on, and delaying other things. So when you have negative feelings, try to do something good on that day, the next day, even if you don't feel like it. And stop talking about those emotions all the time. Do it for a moment with someone in my online community or with a friend or whatever, but then go on with your life. And a few years ago, I said to my husband, you know what, actually, I think the worst place on earth is your mind. You can make it the worst place on earth. And see lots of your situations with some sense of humor. Because look back at situations that were hard and negative, but in the end they were not as bad as you thought they were. There's also a quote, if you worry twice. I mean, easier said than done. I feel you as a highly neurotic person. Most binge eaters, I know, sorry, I talk too much, are type A personalities. So in general, everything in life, they overthink. They eat 3 slices of bread instead of 1, and then I binge. Not saying that you don't experience binging worth thousands of calories, but they overestimate most of their situations. And viewing this a little bit with more humor is definitely helpful. I've noticed that when somebody wakes me up at 2 a.m. and my daughter has problems in the middle of the night searching for her tiny play horse, and then wakes me up. And when somebody wakes me up from deep sleep, I tend to get very anxious and panicky, and I feel threatened. And I had phases in my life where I dealt with nighttime panic attacks. And at some point, my husband was laughing, and I just thought, what an asshole. I have a panic attack, and he's laughing. He was right, it was funny. I mean, if you see people having panic attacks, it looks funny. It just looks funny. And at some point, when I experienced a panic attack, I said to myself, to my ego, my mind, whatever, okay, you having a reaction you cannot control, or at least not to the degree you want. Just breathe like a crazy weirdo. And when you have panic attacks, you oftentimes feel like you're going to die out of nowhere. And I just lived through it, and I just, okay, let the panic rush through your system. And in the middle of the night, I felt like the next day will be horrible. But at some point when I had those panic attacks, I laid in bed and just thought, you know what, Justina, you had plenty of those panic attacks. I'm not dealing with them. But in the past I had them, or I have them sometimes when I have really severe problems I have to solve in my life, where I get anxious. I have a phase where I feel panicky, and then it drops. And that I don't view them as threatening anymore. And I'm just like anxiety, you know, it's just part of my life. You get out of this rut quite faster when you just accept it. And at some point you notice that when you have it in your life, you know, you can decide, do you want to be that big wave surfer where you get really big challenges and afterwards get all the credits and the big fun moments? Or do you want to be that low baby wave surfer? Hey, it's also a great place. Hey, if you get only tiny problems, hey, I'm happy for you, good for you. But if you get challenging problems, just remember those big wave surfers, they also get more fun than just those who get the small waves. If you get a big problem in your life, might be binging, just say, okay, come on, challenge, come on, problem, I'm here for it. We are able to solve it. And I promise you, you will be faster solving that problem than lamenting about it and thinking about it. And I like what Chris Williamson said, if you're thinking about it, talking about it is not doing the thing, searching about the thing is not doing the thing, just do the thing. And promise me, stop wasting your time on too much negative thinking. Acknowledge it that you think negative, but the next day, even if you don't feel like it, go on with your day. And modern world is wonderful. Don't understand me wrong, but modern world has also many traps that will trap your mind. And my advice is become your own hacker. Hack your system, hack your negative thinking. And I know some evil psychs will say, yeah, you can change your thinking. And I can tell you, I am dealing with situations right now that I can't change at the moment. I can just do the right things. But a year ago, I was in a really negative down spiral and I was super anxious. But now my circumstances didn't change, but I changed something in my thinking and I'm way more calmer. So it is possible. It's not only the circumstances that need to change, that you can change your thinking. But from not doing anything, just sitting at home, hiding, not going to parties because you're afraid you might binge, sorry, but that's not the solution. So although modern food supply is addictive, so all those processed foods, it's still manageable for many people to go to parties where so-called trigger foods are available. Maybe not when you're exactly in a recovery state, then maybe it would be wise not to visit or to join every social gathering for a short period of time until you're a little bit more stable. But after that, go on with your life. Enjoy all those parties. If you are prepared more, it's definitely possible for many people, no matter how you're genetically wired. And none of us wants to experience negative emotions, but actually without negative emotions, you will not feel those positive emotions. That's just how it is. You should get used to it and make peace with it. That's all those New Age gurus teach. And what helped me a lot with the negative thinking is my spirituality. So I'm a Christian, and lamenting on Bible verses, for example, that talk about thinking and remembering those verses. And also evolutionary psychology helped me. You might think, hey, they're completely opposite. Christianity or spirituality and evolutionary psychology are totally different, but actually they have a lot of things in common. So find things that help you to cope with your thoughts and with your life in general. And also what helped me a lot is implementing a gratitude journal in my life. So every day I go to bed, I write 5 things down I'm really grateful for. And I don't mean like, I'm grateful for my husband, things like that. Things that happen on that given day. So find tools. Maybe I will post other things in the future about all this mindset stuff. But for now, that's enough to digest.